Now it's about the math. Two close races for candidates on both sides of the race for the White House. Who's calling whom delusional, and why Donald Trump is calling the race unfair. Rising sea levels threatening Hawaii's history. The warnings are rising too. The meeting happening this week to protect the places that tell the story of the islands. Plus, it is crunch time for Hawaii lawmakers. The clock is ticking on a number of high-profile bills, proposals that are sitting uncomfortably close to the chopping block.
You're watching KITV4 Morning News with Laura Yamada, Mike Cherry, and Weather and Traffic with Pete Cajano. Now, KITV4 Morning News continues.
Oh, good morning and welcome back. Time now is 5:30 on this Monday morning. Hope everybody had a good weekend.
Nice thing, actually, the weekend was not so bad when you talk about weather.
Weather conditions out there, yeah. It sounds like see, I love it when it stays a little bit cooler. It's tough, especially in March, some of those days when it got pretty hot.
Yeah,
already.
That was the thing. We had a lot of Kona winds in the forecast, but this week, Laura, this week, it is a different story. You should be clapping your hands because the breezes will not only be filling in today, things clearing up nice and smooth right before the Waimalu off, and it looks good onto the airport viaduct. We'll take a look at your windward drive coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks a lot, Manuel. Early morning fire has destroyed a home in Kailua. KITV's Maleko McDonald standing by live from Enchanted Lakes with more. Maleko?
That's right, Laura. Good morning. We are here in this quiet little neighborhood in Enchanted Lakes where earlier this morning, around 1 a.m., the house behind me became fully engulfed in flames. Fire department crews responded to a 2-alarm fire here at this home on Akupa Street. And you can see the home is almost completely destroyed by the fire here in the front area in the carport. 8 fire companies responded just after 1 this morning. And it took them a while to get the fire out, about a half hour or so before they had it under control, about almost 2 hours before the fire was completely extinguished. Now, this cul-de-sac here near the water in Enchanted Lakes, kind of tucked away in this quiet little community. And fire officials tell us that this 1-story home was already in flames when they arrived. You can see a car that was parked in the carport there, completely destroyed by the fire. Investigators left just a few moments ago as we arrived here, and we understand that they were investigating the cause of the fire. They may come back later today. There's no damage estimate exactly as to what happened here, but you can see the carport was completely engulfed in flames. You can smell the char and the toxic fumes of the plastics and the metals that were burned up when that car was engulfed in flames. But you can also see that the carport completely destroyed part of the house, at least the front of the house, suffering some severe smoke and fire damage. But it's a fairly large house. We walked around to the back side of it, and you can see that the back side of the house looked fairly undamaged, probably some smoke damage in there, but the fire didn't really spread to the main part of the house. So it looks like it was mostly contained to the outside here, the front side of that house, and certainly that car that was sitting there. Not quite sure even what kind of car that was, except the fact that it was completely damaged. Now, we're out here in this quiet little cul-de-sac in Enchanted Lakes. We'll give you more details as they come on this fire that happened this morning. Back to you in the studio, Laura.
All right, thanks a lot, Maleko. Well, a 33-year-old woman is safe this morning after being airlifted from Maunawili Falls. Fire officials say the woman jumped 50 feet off the falls into the water. She hurt her back, and that's when fire crews were called in to help get her out. Well, studies forecasting rising sea levels, no surprise, but the latest says it could affect historical structures and coastal heritage sites right here in the islands. Scientists say by year 21,000, I should say, sea levels are expected to rise several feet. They say some cultural sites and artifacts could become submerged. Researchers are meeting this week to discuss the problem and how to adapt to the rising sea levels and preserve historic structures. Scientists say Hawaii is among the areas most threatened, along with the East Coast. A man shot by Honolulu police near the airport is expected back in court today. The shooting happened earlier this month. 24-year-old Carlos Lopez Salas Jr. is facing terroristic threatening and firearms charges. He was wanted for an alleged burglary after police say an officer confronted him and he pulled out a stolen gun. Also expected in court today, a man indicted for second-degree murder in connection with a fatal stabbing in Kaneohe. Officials say Brian Lucrecio stabbed 55-year-old Daryl Tomita to death during an argument. It happened at a home on Waikapoke Road in Kaneohe on March 29. The suspect fled the scene, but when police found him, he put his hands up and said, "I know why you're here. I stabbed Daryl because of a family dispute." Neighbors say the attack took place in front of Tomita's son. Hawaii lawmakers are up against a major deadline as they head into the final month of the legislative session. Bills dealing with homelessness, sugar workers, and several other topics need to pass out of the second chamber by Thursday. Otherwise, those policy ideas will die. As Hawaii looks for solutions to its homeless crisis, lawmakers are considering a program that would help connect homeless individuals with day jobs. Lawmakers in the House are considering a bill to set up rules for police body cameras. Another bill in the House would make animal desertion a petty misdemeanor, punishable by up to $2,000 in fines. In the race to the White House, the candidates are battling it out for the delegate-rich state of New York, with every campaign, Republicans and Democrats, keeping an eye on the delegate math. ABC's Lanazak has more from Washington.
We're in a really unfair system, folks.
Donald Trump is bristling at the suggestion that Ted Cruz, John Kasich, or even a non-candidate like Paul Ryan could win the GOP nomination at the convention. Campaigning in New York, Trump imagined what the state would have looked like if he had become governor.
Although you would have been fracking by now, a long time ago, you would have been fracking.
The editorial board of the Boston Globe also imagining what a future with Donald Trump in charge could look like, publishing a fake front page warning of deportations, riots, and a free press under siege. While on the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton said the vision of her Republican challengers is delusional.
You know, they're not really held to any standard of reality. It's an alternative universe that they inhabit.
But as both Clintons campaigned in Harlem, former President Clinton faced the reality of his presidential legacy, striking a different tone on criminal justice reform.
We need prison reform. We overdid it in putting too many young nonviolent offenders in jail for too long.
While Bernie Sanders took a different walk through memory lane, reliving a youth spent at Coney Island enjoying then and now the roller coaster ride.
Whoa! The roller coaster ride of this campaign equally breathtaking. For his part, Sanders is hoping it will all end in a contested convention. He argues that momentum is on his side, even if the delegate math isn't. Lana Zach, ABC News, Washington.
Well, coming up after the break, from patient to triathlete, the race of a lifetime for a 65-year-old man competing in the Lava Man Triathlon. The story coming up on Good Morning Hawaii.
Morning Hawaii. You're watching KITV Island News.
No judge, no case, but not so fast. Big Island Mayor Kinoy facing theft charges. The unusual measures to try and find someone willing to try that case. Well, a shocking crime captured live on Facebook. What goes down as a man cases a gang neighborhood, and what Chicago police have to say about it. Plus, boy, some drama in Georgia in a different way. The storm's kicking up in the south. Look at that video. How residents bracing for a springtime washout. Well, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday morning, 7 o'clock right now. Everybody getting up, getting ready for the day. The mornings, I no doubt, going to be great, but it's going to get a little warm for early April.
It's going to feel warm. You know, it's summer. It's a springtime, but it's going to feel like summer today. That's because temperatures are expected to get up into the mid-80s. Fortunately, though, we are looking at some trade winds to come in and cool us down. Here's a live look outside through our IAEA cam. You can see. Let's send it to Laura for today's headlines.
All right, thanks a lot, Jordan. Well, new this morning, it appears no Big Island judge will hear the pending theft trial of Hawaii County Mayor Billy Kinoy. That's according to the Hawaii Tribune-Herald. On Thursday, several Big Island judges filed certificates of recusal, leaving only one full-time judge available to hear that case. The paper reports, when asked why, they say it's due to individual beliefs or contact with the mayor. If all judges decide to remove themselves from the case, the state chief justice will appoint a judge from another circuit. Mayor Kinoy pleaded not guilty in court Wednesday after being indicted on several charges for theft. The charges allege Kinoy misused his county-issued credit card over the past 5 years. Kinoy says he did not realize personal purchases were against the rules and paid back the county for all of those charges. Well, a retired Big Island Circuit Court judge will oversee a hearing for a permit to build a telescope on Mauna Kea. The DLNR announced that Ricky May Amano has been selected to conduct the 30-meter telescope contested case hearing. A new hearing is necessary after the state Supreme Court voided the project's permit in December. Telescope officials are waiting to learn more about the process and timeline before deciding whether to pursue a new hearing. Telescope officials are looking for possible alternate sites in case it cannot be built in Hawaii. Well, right now, uncertainty for 90 animals at the Honolulu Zoo. Just last week, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums revoked the zoo of its accreditation. Animals are on loan from other accredited institutions right now, and it's up to those institutions to decide whether they eventually want their animals back. The AZA says it made the decision because it wasn't pleased with the zoo's past turnover and the zoo's lack of funding. On a positive note, the AZA's decision has nothing to do with the way the animals are cared for. In fact, it says it praised the zoo's leadership and animal care.
Because none of the concerns related to the loss of accreditation had anything to do with animal care, animal welfare, I personally doubt that we will be losing any animals. We don't know that yet.
Now, the city has budgeted for more money for the zoo for fiscal year 2017. The zoo director says he has to do his part, at the very least, by not leaving his position. The earliest they could reapply for accreditation is March of next year. Well, a man suspected of stabbing and killing another man made his first appearance in court. 47-year-old Brian Lucrecio has been charged with second-degree murder. Court documents say a witness saw Lucrecio stab 55-year-old Daryl Tomita once in the upper back during a family dispute. Tomita died at the hospital. Court documents show when police found Lucrecio a few blocks away, he admitted that he did indeed do that. His preliminary hearing has been set for April 5th. A Big Island man is free right now after being arrested on Thursday on suspicion of murder in the death of his wife. Police say they released 70-year-old James Mansker pending further investigation. An autopsy for the victim, his 62-year-old wife, Marcia, has been scheduled for Monday. Thursday morning, she was found unresponsive with a fatal gunshot wound to the head at a home on Mahilani Drive. A plea deal is in jeopardy right now for a woman who admitted to conspiring with her Army medic lover to kill his wife. A Hawaii judge ruled this week that she is not ready to accept or reject Elisa Jackson's deal with prosecutors. Jackson says she'll testify against Sergeant Michael Walker in exchange for a lighter sentence. Now, both the prosecution and the defense urged the judge to approve that deal. Prosecutors are concerned that without Jackson's testimony, it will be more difficult to win a conviction against Walker. They believe he orchestrated the 2014 stabbing death of his wife, Catherine Walker. Well, a shocking crime captured on Facebook as it was happening, a live video stream. And now a massive hunt is underway in Chicago to find that shooter. ABC's Eva Pilgrim reports.
On Chief, well, they say they heard I was up here, so they had to open the store back up for the kids, though.
It's this video that streamed live on Facebook that is going viral. Watch as this Chicago man, Brian Fields, shows himself back in his old neighborhood, but somehow he knows he needs to watch his back.
I need somewhere to duck and hide for cover.
And then at this moment, Fields, also known as Sugar Ray, notices something out of the corner of his eye. The cell phone falls to the ground as it continues to stream live, and the unidentified gunman's arm can be seen on camera while firing off multiple rounds. The suspect runs away, leaving the victim, 31-year-old Brian Fields, shot multiple times, bleeding in the street.
You know, one of the things he wanted to do was say to everyone, hey, I'm here, I'm brave, I'm strong. I am so strong that I could be in a rival group's neighborhood and videotape it.
But his actions might have been too bold. Fields suffering multiple gunshot wounds.
No! Oh my God! I don't believe this!
This incident comes at a time when Chicago's violent crime rate continues to soar. Chicago police reporting shootings across the city have risen 88% from a year ago, with more than 675 taking place in 2016 so far. Authorities are hoping that the shocking video of this shooting will lead them to the gunman.
Boy, I tell you, a sign of our times, right? All right, coming up after the break, some severe storms continue to batter the mainland. Dramatic video of winds slamming Georgia. The story on Good Morning Hawaii. And weight restrictions lifted. The new rules in place for a bridge on the North Shore. Time now is 7:08 on this Saturday morning, I should say. Hope you're having a good start to the day. We'll be right back.
Good Morning Hawaii. You're watching KITV Island News.
Oh boy, look at that. Folks out in Georgia dealing with that dramatic scene. Howling winds slamming the south, storms rolling through the area, tornado warnings out there because of all that stuff. Heavy wind, heavy rain, bringing down trees, power lines, and caused flooding on the roadways. Boy, look at that. You don't usually see stuff like that coming out of the south so much, more sort of the Midwest or whatnot. But and here we are, we're getting into springtime. It's supposed to be a happy time. They're dealing with that, but not too bad for us. Not too bad for us.
You know, we're looking at some, actually, it's going to feel like summertime here. We got some
warmer
today.
I'm not ready.
But we're going to be looking at you know, some beautiful conditions in the morning as well as the evening for some sunrises and some sunsets. We have a beautiful sunrise shot here. This was heading out looking towards Cocoa Head.
Beautiful colors.
Yeah, you can see their Cocoa Head right there in the corner. So a beautiful morning to start off with. We are looking at just a quick look at your island weather. Let's send it back to Laura.
All right, thanks so much, Jordan. Well, a warning for Oahu residents right now. Officials are saying stay out of Kalihi Stream. They say 200 gallons of sewage spilled near Richard Lane. Happened around noon yesterday after a private sewer pipe broke. The leak has been diverted to a sanitary manhole. Transportation officials say a steel bridge is being sent to Hawaii to help repair an aging bridge on Oahu's North Shore. The Paumalu Stream Bridge near Sunset Beach, built all the way back in 1929. Well, it was reinforced in 2014. However, this year's high surf did some damage. DOT officials say there are large vertical cracks in the columns. Repair work will begin in early May.
What we're looking at doing is bringing in a temporary precast steel bridge, bringing it in to span the load over the existing structure. Really what that's going to do is just take the loading off of the columns that we're concerned about.
Now, in the meantime, the DOT has restored weight limits. Trucks 15 tons and over are allowed to go over the bridge, but only if no other large trucks are crossing at the same time. Remember, those columns are cracked. The repair work should take only about a month, so not too long. Well, still ahead on Good Morning Hawaii, Brandy Higa has your look at morning sports. We'll be right back. Plus, April marking Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month, how the community is spreading the word. Time now is 7:15. A field of pinwheels, a stunning display at the Capitol. It is back. If you haven't seen it, if you don't know what it means, this is time to make sure that you do. The Director for Prevent Child Abuse Hawaii, Eileen Deese is here, back again.
Yes.
She's been doing this for many, many years, by the way. So
this is our 10th annual.
10th annual, also along with Kayleen and Adia, also here joining us from Girl Scouts Hawaii. No doubt these girls representing their troop well, so we'll get to them in just a minute. But let's talk about this event too, because I'm sure most people have at least passed by and seen these pinwheels, this field of pinwheels out in front of the Capitol. It is stunning, and it has such important meaning.
Right. This is our 10th annual Pinwheels for Prevention Planting, and it's sponsored by Prevent Child Abuse Hawaii Department of Health and our partners from the Child Abuse Prevention Planning Council. And the meaning is this is the new symbol for child abuse and the national symbol for child abuse prevention. And each pinwheel is our hope for the happy childhood of children. We want to keep it real positive and hope that we can keep kids safe forever.
Yeah, it's quite a sight too, and it's amazing to see who comes out to help out, including you guys.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about why you wanted to be out there, why this was important for you guys to help.
We wanted to do it because we wanted to make sure every child like us is safe. So all of us are happy.
Yeah, that's really important
Wonderful.
for kids for your age too to be out there. I think sometimes it's easier when the kids are out there talking to other kids and sharing their stories and what they're doing. So why did you want to be out there too? Why was it important for you?
Well, because I don't like the idea of any kid being like harmed or abused when they're just like our age.
Yeah, so important. I mean, it's important for everybody in the family to make sure that they're aware of getting out there, getting the message out. That's what's so important, just getting the word out.
And the whole public can come out from 2 to 4 tomorrow, Sunday, April 3rd at the State Capitol and April 9th at the Kapolei Police Station. And they're welcome to come out and join these Girl Scouts. And we have also the Aloha Pono Lions Clubs and some military and other partners there.
And this month in particular, this is symbolic.
April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. And this is the kickoff for the series of events we also have on April 8th. If everybody's an early bird from 6 to 9 a.m., we're going to do sign waving for child abuse prevention at Tamarind Park. And all month long, the parents and children together, this is called the agency who are our partners called PACT, have organized family story times at all the libraries, most of the libraries on Oahu. And this is to encourage parents to read, because reading to your child really creates bonding, and bonding will help create prevention of child abuse and strong families. So that's our partners from Parents and Children Together.
Well, Eileen, nice work all these years, and girls, you should be proud of yourselves because you're representing a whole lot of people. Good work.
Thank you.
Good work for being out there, and a lot of support. A lot of folks are going to be out there tomorrow. So again, 2 to 4 over at the Capitol, launching a wonderful event to make sure that our communities are safe. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll be right back. That's kind of cool. So you have
felt for the family, but it's still, if you guys did something, and the story from back then wasn't even straight, it was like, they left him on Oahu.
The case of missing Peter Boy Kema still has many scratching their heads. His parents both pleading not guilty in court. The latest from Hilo coming up. Stealing from a Good Samaritan, one man turns himself in and now faces charges. Did posts plastered on social media help in the case? Plus, prison bill deferred, overcrowding in aging buildings taking over old CCC. Lawmakers still not able to agree on where to build a new facility.
Good morning, Hawaii. You're watching KITV Island News.
And a good morning to you, Hawaii. It is Saturday, April 30th. I'm Moanike Navarro.
And I'm Jordan Seguna. Thanks for joining us for Hawaii's only weekend morning newscast.
And we'll get to our top stories in just a bit, but we're turning to weather first and some scattered showers out there.
We're looking at some scattered showers out there. Overall, though, the weekend looking fairly nice. We're looking at some warm and sunny skies today. But for the morning, isolated showers. That's a quick look at your Saturday forecast. Let's send it back to Wani for today's headlines.
Thanks, Jordan. Let's get you caught up with our top morning headlines this morning. 19 years after he went missing, Peter Boy Kema's parents are taken to court. Peter Kema Sr. and Jalen Kema pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder in connection of their son's disappearance back in 1997. They showed up in separate courtrooms yesterday. It took just a couple of minutes until the judge scheduled a date for Peter Kema Sr.'s trial. He's also barred Kema Sr. from speaking to any witnesses, including his own children. Prosecutor Rick Damerville told KITV they've been getting new information in the case. He says they have an old blind mule approach to solve the case.
What he does is he looks at everything that other people have reported with a very critical eye, looking for things that people in good faith thought was true, but may not be true. And so after we completed that analysis, we took it to grand jury.
Damerville says we'll have to wait until the trial to get more specifics on the evidence. However, court documents state the Kemas, quote, did intentionally or knowingly cause the death of their son by voluntarily omitting to perform a duty imposed by law. The state's sense is that Peter Boy died in 1997. The case left many here in the islands asking so many questions. After nearly 2 decades, it is still the talk of the town in Hilo.
I thought it should have happened a long time ago.
It's gone on so long, and that's the part that's the most unfair to Peter Pan.
We felt for the family, but it's still, you know, if you guys did something, you know, and the story from back then wasn't even straight, you know, it was like, you know, if they left them on Oahu.
A lot of customers are just voicing that they're just relieved that it's happy, it's about time that the parents are being charged for it. I guess they believe that they did it. I don't know. But maybe it's because it's been so long and, you know, nobody forgot this little boy.
Sharing their thoughts with us on KITV's Facebook page. You are welcome to join the conversation there, and we will be following this case, so be sure to download the KITV app for breaking news alerts. In other news, a Kauai police officer accused of running over a teenage pedestrian will have to wait several more months for trial. Irvin Magallanes is charged with negligent homicide in the death of 19-year-old Michael Kosher Jr. He was hit by a car in January of 2015 while walking along Kaumuali'i Highway. Magallanes was the responding officer. The officer was going about 70 miles an hour on the way to the scene when he allegedly hit the teen a second time, killing him. The trial date has now been rescheduled for October 24th. A suspected thief turns himself in after a Good Samaritan loses his bag of belongings. Randy Gonce's bag went missing when he left it to help a family trapped inside a rolled over SUV on Wednesday. Now, social media stepped in to help, posting videos and pics of a man in a red shirt picking up Gonce's bag. You can see that there. 32-year-old Metui Sela Tautui Aki turned himself into police in the Chinatown police substation. That's just steps away from where Gonce says Tautui Aki stole his bag and drained his bank account. We'll let you judge for yourself whether he looks like the man in the red shirt. Gonce hasn't gotten his stolen property back, but says there's plenty to be thankful for.
Are just monetary things, and sure, I would like to have them back, but I guess the main story is that the family was okay. The guy was caught, and hopefully he's charged.
Tautui Aki faces charges of felony property and identification theft. He remains in police custody. The family involved in that crash was released from the hospital the night of the crash without any major injuries. Prison issues presiding over talks in the state legislature this week. One bill calling for a new Oahu Community Correctional Center. But as KITV's Paula Akana reports, unless there's a last-minute revival, the bill will be locked up.
At issue, the Oahu Community Correctional Center, an aging, overcrowded facility that sits on 16 acres of land in Kalihi. Some of the buildings are over 80 years old. Relocating OCCC was among Governor David Ige's top priorities going into this legislative session. But the proposal was deferred today after conferees could not agree on where to build a new prison.
The problem is that the latest estimate we have from the state is that the cost of building OCCC on the grounds of Falava Prison is about $650 million. And that's considerably more than the estimate we got just last year, which was $428 million.
Representative Greg Takayama says that would make it the most expensive state building ever built in the history of the state. Takayama says he's hoping the governor will direct his administration to conduct a feasibility cost study of all the alternate sites, whether it's building vertically on the Kalihi land, which would take up about 4 acres, leaving the rest available for development, or building in Halava.
We got funded to hopefully be able to centralize our furlough program at the Oahu Community Correctional Center, therefore freeing up about 120 beds. In addition to that, we've got some money to add bed spaces at the Women's Community Correctional Center, which again would free up bed spaces at Oahu Community Correctional Center.
The department also received funding for additional beds for Maui, Hilo, and Kauai correctional centers. But Espinda says rebuilding OCCC is an issue that won't go away.
That community deserves to redevelop that space there. The institution is poorly laid out, and something more economical really has to be developed for the jail population throughout the island of Oahu.
Paula Akana, KITV Island News.
Now, there are 2 other prison-related bills that did pass conference committee this week and are poised for a vote of the full House and Senate, including one to release some offenders while they await trial. Well, 'tis the season for wedding and graduation parties, and Honolulu police are working to keep the streets safe as those celebrations begin. Starting tomorrow through June 30th, officers will be setting up DUI checkpoints at unannounced times and locations. This includes, but isn't limited to, the Memorial Day and King Kamehameha Day holidays. The checkpoints, part of the department's ongoing effort to reduce traffic deaths and injuries. Well, after the break, severe weather hammering parts of the Midwest. Take a look at this video here. Tornado sirens roar ahead of two twisters touching ground in Nebraska. We'll have the latest from the area rocked by strong winds. Stay with us.
Good morning, Hawaii. You're watching KITV Island News.
That's the sound of tornado sirens sounding in Nebraska this week as severe weather moved through the state. Now, check out these shots here. These are actually funnel clouds forming in Omaha. You can't see it touch the ground there, but the National Weather Service does tell us that there were two twisters in the area, two tornadoes. One did cause some minor damage and has been rated an EF1. And you look at a site like that, which again is pretty spooky stuff.
Yeah.
But you think about just how lucky we are that we don't see that frequently here in the islands.
Really, I mean, we really don't see it at all. Maybe like a little twister out on the west side.
Yeah,
but
sometimes, you know, we get funnel clouds, but something like that looks like something out of Wizard of Oz.
Very scary. And unfortunately for us, like you said, lucky we live Hawaii. No severe weather to talk about this weekend. We're looking at some great conditions outside. Here's a quick look at, we're going to check out the currents, an overnight low of 74 degrees and the winds remaining light coming in from the east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. That's a quick check of your Saturday forecast. Let's send it back to you, Moani.
Thanks, Jordan. Well, an update on the roads this morning. Police have closed a portion of Kamehameha Highway. This is in Aiea due to a water main break. About 10 o'clock last night, the eastbound lanes of Kamehameha Highway right near the Pearl Kai McDonald's were closed off. Traffic being rerouted to Lipoa Place. Stick with KITV for any updates on the road closure. Oahu drivers can also expect delays in Liliha all weekend. Two southbound lanes on Liliha Street will be closed through Sunday. That's between Vineyard and North King Street. Alternate routes including A'ala and Palama Streets will be available. Work is part of the Liliha Street Rehabilitation Project. Well, coming up next on Good Morning Hawaii, another local boy scooped up by the NFL. Brandy Higo will have highlights for you coming up in your morning sports. Plus, hula beauties catch up with KITV to talk about a new documentary depicting their dazzling days dancing in the Big Apple. Stay with us.